Hi, I'm Adam Greentree, and I've got a new audio series called In Pursuit, where I take you through many of my adventures. The series includes soundscapes, so it really immerses you into my shoes. You'll feel like you're right there with me as I tell the story. It's available now on iTunes and Spotify. Before we go any further, I want to thank our sponsors, Manscape, for making an In Pursuit possible. And to all my Aussie listeners, good news. Manscape has just launched here in Australia and it's available to you now. We've all had nicks in our time, and let's just say this is not something I'd wish upon my worst enemies. Their new features include 90 minutes battery life, a really cool LED light to get in and have a closer shave. All of these features have allowed me to stay well groomed while I'm off the grid. For all of you watching, I want you to experience this for yourself. So right now, Manscaped is giving 20% off and free shipping when you use the code Greentree. Trim that junk of yours. Get 20% off and free shipping by using the code Greentree at manscaped.com, and your balls will thank you later. In this episode, I take you across the Rocky Mountains. I think I end up covering over 300 miles actually. Eventually walked into Montana. I was chasing elk, and it was September, so it was elk season in America. It was nearly last light. I was heading back to camp, pretty exhausted. It had been, I don't know, I guess I was 14 days into the trip at that point. As I was coming over the rise, I sort of met with a female grizzly, a really big mother grizzly. She was actually down on all four, and as she seen me, she stood up, and this giant bear stood right up in front of me. I didn't have a lot of time, but she come straight at me. She charged me, obviously protecting her cub.
I don't want to shoot her, but I don't mind me life either,
So I drew my handgun. It's something that you carry, especially when you're by yourself in that backcountry. And I drew the pistol. Luckily for me, she turned off at about 20 yards, so it was just like a bluff charge. I stayed dead still, just with the pistol drawn, pointed at her. She ran back around to the tree, got back to her cub. The cub hadn't climbed the tree yet. The cub was still at the base of the tree, and she just come straight at me like speed of lightning. It was ridiculous. She was just nearly on top of me again. And this time she come to 10 yards. It was funny because I felt like I squeezed the trigger at that point. I just remember something didn't look right about the pistol. So when I drew it, I cocked it and was ready. Anyway, this grizzly, she pretty much swiped the ground and let out this big huff. It's like famous words now. I called her a fucking mole because she scared me.
I rode that thing out in the friggin' 2 milliseconds flat. As soon as I seen her bolting straight at me. She sort of stopped when I called her a fucking mole.
She ran back, and then she popped back up where her cub was, and then she pretty much disappeared straight away. So I was expecting her to come out to my side, and there was like all this shrubbery on my side, so she would have just been on me. And I kept thinking, if she comes the third time, like, she's not fucking around. Like, if she comes a third time, she's gonna be on me. She's gonna attack me. She come 20 yards the first time, 10 yards the next time. Well, the next time she charges at 0, she's gonna be on me, mauling me. Anyway, she didn't show up straight away, and I remember like trying to be quiet and trying to, keep your shit together, I guess. I slowly backed up. As I was walking backwards, because I'm coming down the hill, I'm losing sight of all the ground in front of me. Like, I was never ever gonna have a bit of a heads up that she's charged me at that point. But I kept backing up, and luckily for me, she never come after me at that point.
I think she's backed off. She kept coming closer and closer for a while there, following me around that rim.
Before we continue, it's time to introduce our good friends at SURFSHARK VPN, who have been gracious enough to sponsor this episode of In Pursuit. Being an avid adventurer like myself, traveling around the world leads to having to consistently connect to various public Wi-Fis. But now with SURFSHARK VPN, you're protected from any cyber hacking that commonly occurs when doing so. Our good mates at SURFSHARK VPN have done us all a huge favor and are offering a massive 83% off plus 3 extra months free using the code INPURSUIT at checkout. They are also offering 30 days money back guarantee, so there's absolutely no risk at all. By downloading Surfshark now with the code INPURSUIT, you are supporting me and you're going to allow us to bring you more episodes each week. Thanks, Surfshark. Now back to the episode. Once everything had settled down and I got to look at the pistol was jammed the whole time. I was pretty much defenseless the whole time. And I guess one of the biggest worries about that is I would have spent the time trying to get a shot off and it wouldn't have been going off instead of another way of defense, you know. And I know it sounds silly, like you've got no chance against the bear, but I guess if I knew the pistol was jammed or not working, at least I could have went for a knife or something like that, or an arrow out of my bow and arrow, or anything, instead of just wasting the last bit of your life trying to get a gun off that was never going to go off. I guess once I hiked back across from where the bear attack happened, I was only 300 yards from where she was anyway, this pissed off grizzly bear, and I had to sleep there for the night because there was a big storm that came in, so I couldn't hike out in it. And anyway, I'm here to tell the story today. That's this episode of In Pursuit. Make sure you listen in because I go into great detail, and the soundscape really puts you in my shoes during this journey. It's available on Spotify and iTunes.